The private dinner invitation came at the most pivotal moment of Alex Eala's career. Fresh off her stunning victory at the Washington Open, where she battled through rain delays to defeat world number 3 Jessica Pegula 4-6, 6-4, 6-0, Eala had just entered the top 20 for the first time in her career. The tennis legend Boris Becker, who had been closely following her meteoric rise throughout 2026, reached out with an unexpected proposal. This wasn't merely a casual meet and greet. This was a private, intimate dinner arrangement that immediately raised eyebrows across the sport. Becker, notorious for his unfiltered opinions and strategic mind, had been praising Eala's performances for months. Following her Wimbledon victory over Iga Swiatek, Becker had used his podcast to highlight Eala's audacious gameplay as evidence of a changing of the guard in women's tennis. But his public admiration had always been measured, professional, and distanced. A private dinner signified something far more personal and significant. The invitation itself sent shockwaves through the tennis establishment. What could the German legend possibly want with a young Filipina star behind closed doors? The timing was impeccable. Eala had just achieved what no Filipino player, male or female, had ever done before. Becker's congratulatory tweet calling her win historic was just the beginning. Now, he wanted face-to-face time. The dinner setting was exclusive, shrouded in secrecy, with neither party publicly disclosing the location. This level of privacy only fueled speculation that something monumental was about to happen between one of tennis's most decorated champions and its most exciting new talent. To understand the significance of this dinner, one must first appreciate Boris Becker's growing obsession with Alex Eala's remarkable journey. Throughout the 2026 season, the six-time Grand Slam champion has been watching Eala with increasing intensity, and his public comments have evolved from casual acknowledgement to deep analysis. When Eala dismantled Iga Swiatek at Wimbledon in straight sets, a defeat that ended Swiatek's title defense, Becker didn't just congratulate the winner. He used his podcast to deliver a scathing critique of Swiatek while simultaneously highlighting Eala as the embodiment of women's tennis's new direction. Something needs to change dramatically for Swiatek, Becker declared, implying that Eala's fearless style represented the future that the former world number 1 could no longer dominate. But Becker's interest went beyond mere analysis. The tennis world noticed how the German legend would respond to almost every significant Eala achievement. When Rafael Nadal praised his academy product's growth, Becker quickly responded with word, a brief but powerful sign of agreement that tennis insiders interpreted as the ultimate stamp of approval from one legend to another. What makes this so compelling is Becker's personal stake in the matter. He has mentored players before, and his unflinching honesty about what it takes to succeed at the highest level has produced both praise and controversy. Dinner with Eala represented something far more significant than a casual meeting. It was a potential passing of the torch, a moment where one of the sport's most experienced voices could shape the career of its most promising star. The mere fact that Becker would dedicate private time to Eala speaks volumes about what he sees in her. It's not just talent, it's something far more elusive. Sources close to both camps have begun leaking details about what actually transpired during this secretive encounter, and the revelations are nothing short of explosive. The dinner conversation reportedly went far beyond casual congratulations or surface-level career advice. According to insiders, Becker dropped bombshell proposals that could completely reshape Eala's career trajectory and potentially create one of the most formidable player-mentor relationships in modern tennis history. The conversation is said to have centered around Becker's brutally honest assessment of Eala's game, specifically what he believes she needs to do to break into the top 10 and eventually compete for Grand Slam titles. This mirrors his public analysis of Eala's aggressive playing style and what he has called the generational shift currently happening in women's tennis. But the private setting allowed for direct, unfiltered advice that no podcast could capture. Most shockingly, reports suggest Becker offered to personally mentor Eala, providing strategic guidance that could fast-track her rise to the top of the sport. Given that Becker mentored some of the game's greatest players, this offer represents an unprecedented opportunity. But the dinner wasn't just about tennis. The private conversation reportedly delved into the pressures of sudden fame, the importance of mental fortitude, and how to navigate the treacherous landscape of top-level tennis. Becker, who has experienced both the highest highs and lowest lows of the sport, was said to have been remarkably candid about his own career mistakes, warning Eala about pitfalls that could derail her momentum. The intimate nature of this conversation indicates a relationship forming that transcends typical player-legend dynamics. Eala, at just 21, now has access to wisdom that most players can only dream of, and the tennis world is buzzing about what this partnership could mean for the future of women's tennis. The news of this private dinner has sent shockwaves through the tennis establishment, with reactions ranging from excitement to outright skepticism. Players, analysts, and fans have all weighed in on what this secretive meeting between one of the sport's most controversial figures and its most exciting young talent truly means. Many are questioning Becker's motives. Is this genuine mentorship, or is the German legend attempting to attach himself to Eala's rising star power? Critics have pointed out Becker's complicated personal history and his previous public statements that sometimes border on harsh criticism. His declaration that something needs to change in women's tennis after Eala's victories could be interpreted either as genuine concern for the sport or as a self-serving attempt to position himself as the architect of the new era. Meanwhile, Eala's supporters see this as validation that the Filipina phenom has truly arrived on the biggest stage. In a country where tennis isn't the primary sport, Eala's dominance has already captured the nation's imagination. As noted in recent coverage, her victories in Washington placed her firmly in the top 20 WTA rankings, the highest ever achieved by a Filipino player of either gender. Now, a tennis legend personally investing time in her development elevates her status even further. The most significant reactions, however, come from within the WTA Tour itself. Some competitors worry that Becker's influence could give Eala an unfair advantage, while others view it as a natural progression for a player who has already shown she can beat the best. Former players like Martina Navratilova and Greg Rusedski have already weighed in on Eala's potential, with Rusedski calling her the most exciting player on the WTA Tour, while noting areas for improvement like her serve. Now, with Becker potentially in her corner, that improvement could come faster than anyone anticipated. The tennis world is collectively holding its breath, wondering whether this dinner was merely a meeting of minds or the beginning of something far more consequential, a partnership that could define the future of women's tennis. The implications of this private dinner extend far beyond mere gossip. They could fundamentally alter the trajectory of Alex Eala's already meteoric career. With Becker's experience, connections, and brutally honest assessment skills potentially in her corner, the young Filipina could be positioned to achieve something truly extraordinary. First, the strategic benefit cannot be overstated. Becker's understanding of what it takes to compete and win at the highest level, especially against the current WTA elite, is invaluable. He has already identified areas where he believes women's tennis is shifting, and he has pointed to Eala as the player embodying that change. Having a strategist of his caliber guiding her career decisions would provide an edge that few players at her stage possess. Second, the mental and psychological dimensions of this mentorship could prove transformative. As Becker himself has noted, tennis is as much about mental fortitude as it is about skill. His comments about Swiatek needing to really think everything over reveal a coach who understands the psychological demands of staying at the top. For Eala, who has already demonstrated remarkable composure in high-pressure situations, guidance on maintaining that mindset through the grueling demands of the tour could accelerate her development. Third, the networking opportunities are immense. Becker's connections throughout tennis could open doors that would otherwise remain closed, from training opportunities to sponsorship deals and beyond. Eala's brand as a Nike athlete and Rafa Nadal Academy product already commands respect, but Becker's endorsement could elevate her to the elite level of tennis royalty. Most importantly, this dinner represents the recognition that Alex Eala is no longer just a promising talent, she is a legitimate force in women's tennis. At 21 years old, with a WTA title, a top 20 ranking, and legends fighting for her attention, Eala has entered a space occupied by the sport's true greats. What happens next will define not just her career, but potentially the future of women's tennis itself. The questions remain. Will she accept Becker's mentorship? Can she handle the pressure that comes with such high-profile backing? One thing is certain, The tennis world will be watching every move she makes, and this private dinner may be remembered as the moment when Alex Eala's legend truly began. If you enjoyed this latest tennis update and want to stay ahead of the biggest stories in the world, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe the channel right now. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a moment of the action. See you in the next video.